How's it going, guys? I'm here to review Jigsaw 2017, or Saw 8.
Now the game's simple. The best ones are. You want mercy? Play by the rules.
So Jigsaw kind of acts its own kind of movie. It's more like a soft reboot, but at the same time, it's a sequel to the other movies, if that makes sense. But pretty much, there are no returning characters from the previous movies, except for John Kramer, known as Jigsaw, of course. And I shouldn't say he's a killer, because that is one thing he is not. He is not a killer. He never killed anyone, technically. Yes, he put people in traps, but it was their own choice and will if they're going to live or die. I mean, it was their choice. So technically that doesn't make him a killer, but maybe an accomplice, but who knows. But technically Jigsaw is not really a killer. This movie takes, I'm assuming this movie takes place several years after the final chapter, of course, because it was pretty much a 7-year gap since we last watched the Saw movie. So the same formula. A bunch of characters gets kidnapped because of their sins, and they have to face the consequences. They have to play a set of games, live or die. This one's kind of different. Instead of one person doing a number of trials and saving people from traps, this one's actually returning that Saw 5 teamwork, where you have a group of people. They're like in a group where they have to work. They have to work together and complete these games to survive, pretty much. So they kind of bring that Saw 5 group element.
Any identification on the victim?
Puzzle piece.
But Jigsaw has been dead for 10 years.
It's not him. Can't be.
This was on the body.
The truth will set you free.
But each of these new characters, like I said, they all have their own sins. So these characters are really, really not good people. And if you think about it, when they do die, it's kind of rewarding. Especially the ending. Once you watch the ending, you'll know what I'm talking about. But while that's going on, of course, there's always a detective story or a cop story or an FBI story on the side, like always with these Saw films. But of course, you're introduced to new characters. Eleanor Bonville, a coroner, I guess she checks the bodies, so she's a morgue person. She's a morgue worker, and you have Logan, a new character that's you would think he's a protagonist, but he's really not a good guy if you get to know him. And of course you get other detectives that are on their ass because the detectives think that they're the ones that are doing this because they know so much, especially Eleanor Bonville. She's such a fangirl of Jigsaw's work that when the Jigsaw murders are starting to happen again, she then gets excited. So yeah, this girl, she's a fan of John Kramer's work. And then you have John. He was a military vet, and of course he survived, but shit's been hard on him, been rough. And of course you have two other detectives. Like I said, they're dicks. They have no respect for Logan. At least one of them doesn't, for sure. And man, if I say too much of the story, it's pretty much I'm gonna spoil it if I say too much of the story, because it's one of those plots that I can't say that much, because the more I say, the more I'm gonna spoil the film. But all I can say is that there's two different time periods that's going on. What I mean by that is you have one that takes place in the present, and you have another storyline that takes place in the past. So once you watch the movie, especially the ending, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yes, Tobin Bell does appear in this movie as Jigsaw, of course, but there's a reason why he came back.
I'm chasing the dead man. It's the copycat.
Back in 2017, so several years ago, once I saw the trailer, I was so hyped. I was like, yes! I haven't seen a Saw movie in years, and technically, I never seen a Saw movie in theaters, so, oh my god. So, here's the story real quick. I wanted to watch Saw 1, the 10th anniversary, back in 2014 when it came out in theaters, but I was in trouble at school, so I couldn't because of my parents, so I missed that opportunity. And Jigsaw, when it came out several years ago, back in 2017, once I saw the trailer, like I said, I was hyped. I wanted to see it. But of course, I was busy with school. Plus, everybody else was busy. They were busy with their plans. So everyone was busy. I was busy. So sure enough, I just missed watching Jigsaw in theaters. It could have been my first Saw movie in theaters, like a whole new experience. But unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it until I got the Blu-ray, of course. Yeah, Jigsaw. This movie is really, really good. It's a really surprising entry. It feels kind of refreshing because even though this movie is a sequel, it kind of does feel like a soft reboot. It has a different tone, has a different it just feels different compared to the other Saw movies. Yes, you still have the music. You still have Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. You still have the traps. Everything else is the same. It's just when you're watching the filter for this movie, just the feel of it, like how it's going, the pacing in this movie, it's really different compared to the other ones, and it feels refreshing too. I'm not gonna lie, and I love how this movie goes back to its like mystery, suspenseful thriller roots, kind of like the first Saw movie did. Like, because after the first Saw movie, the sequels were just focusing way too much on the traps. I mean, yeah, it had a story, don't get me wrong, but you can tell that they were more focused on the gore porn. But in this movie, it kind of stays away from that and focuses more on the mystery. Kind of, like I said, going back to the first movie's roots, which I really appreciate. Yeah, there's a lot of cool traps. The special effects is good. Like I said, the score is good. It's good to see Tobin Bell and Billy the Puppet and the mascot.
So afraid. Live or die. The choice is yours.
So overall, this movie feels hella refreshing. It's really good. It's really well made. It's probably a very, very well made Saw sequel. This is pretty much like my 5th favorite after Saw 4. So technically, Jigsaw is better than Saw 5, 6, and 7 in my opinion. Not as good as the first 4, but yes, it's still a well-made movie. And I will rate this movie an 8 out of 10. So this was my quick review of Jigsaw 2017. What do you guys think of it? Did you guys watch it when it came out? How was your guys' Halloween that year in 2017? A lot of good horror movies came out and a lot of bad ones too. So this was, yeah, like I said, this was my quick review of Jigsaw. Please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
It's Jigsaw.
No, it's not creepy at all.